Richard Mingus was born in 1930. He fought bravely in the Korean War, and after his military service, he found work at the Sands Hotel restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip. Now, he was married to his lovely wife, Gloria, but due to problems during Gloria's difficult pregnancy, Richard needed a job which had solid medical benefits to take care of his wife. So he applied for work on various government projects, and he was quickly accepted into the secret government program at Area 51 as the first, or at least one of the first, plank owners, Camo dudes, at this secret location in the Nevada desert, named Area 51. Now, Richard Mingus thus became one of the first Federal Services security guards assigned to Area 51. In the military, they would call him a plank owner, and he was responsible for the daily communications into the base from the outside civilian world, and he was not permitted to identify the base over the phone or discuss what was occurring within the confines of Area 51. He could not even confirm the names of any employees that were present there, and the base was simply referred to as Delta. The phone was answered 3232, and Mingus could not even reveal his occupation to his wife up until her death on August 14th, 2006 in Las Vegas, Nevada, at age 69. They were married for 52 years, so he couldn't even tell his wife what he did for 52 years. Richard Mingus was also responsible for guarding Project Aquatone, the YouTube spy plane project, and that actually is a subject for another video. We can talk about nuclear tests and Richard Mingus. Mingus provided the security for Project 57. This was the United States' first ever dirty bomb test. Okay, he participated in the Hood bomb detonation, which was a massive 75 kiloton blast. Can you imagine that? Immediately after the blast, it was realized that the Atomic Energy Commission had failed to provide security at Area 51 for this test. So Mingus was dispatched by higher authority to immediately secure the base, which he did. While engaged in securing Area 51 with his team, he was subject to large amounts of radiation that had just been unleashed by this detonation. Richard Mingus is still alive, so apparently it didn't have any effect on him. Some areas where Richard Mingus was also stationed was Area 13. Now, Area 13 is where they were also subjected to lethal levels of radiation, the base security, folks that were working there. So routine care had to be taken to avoid long exposure to the plutonium and other radioactive substances for our military and private contractors who are working on this base. Now, Area 12 is interesting also. Richard Mingus spent many years in the tunnels of Area 12, and these tunnels were used to facilitate also nuclear testing in the Nevada desert. And he was also responsible for Area 25. So it wasn't just Area 51, it was Area 25. At Area 25, Richard Mingus, right there on the far right, he met with President John F. Kennedy, and Mingus, having such a high security clearance, was assigned to work with President John F. Kennedy's Secret Service detail when Kennedy visited the base in 1962. And it was part of the Kennedy administration's space travel promotion tour. And behind the scenes, the Kennedy administration was planning a nuclear-powered spaceship that could reach Mars. Well, now Elon Musk has taken over the reins of this long-term project with his private company, SpaceX. I really don't think we're going to see NASA making it to Mars, but I'm pretty sure Elon Musk can do it. Richard Mingus was, while working at the United States Department of Energy's Emergency Command Center in Las Vegas, on January 24th, 1978, a nuclear-powered Russian spy satellite called Cosmos 954 crashed in Canada. The top job he had while fielding calls at the Emergency Command Center was to prevent Americans from panicking and all that agency would report was a space-age difficulty had occurred. Nothing about a nuclear-powered satellite with a potential lethal fallout. So Richard Mingus was not only one of the first Camo dudes, but he carried a lot of responsibility on his shoulder. In 1982, Richard Mingus was in charge of securing an underground test at Area 6. The base had a live nuclear bomb exposed above the ground, and during the process of lowering the bomb underground, the base became under attack by armed combatants. Mingus was responsible for coordinating the breach up through the chain of command, so he had to secure the base. President Ronald Reagan was ultimately notified, and the event became a significant and top-secret national security issue. Later, it was confirmed that the combatants were actually men from the private security company Wackenhut, who were providing security and conducting a drill. These folks today at Wackenhut are still responsible for the perimeter security of Area 51 and other secret bases. So, Richard Mingus, the very first Camo dude, as of October 2011, he was working as a security guard at the Atomic Testing Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this man, an original Camo dude, just doesn't want to retire. In 2010, Mingus was also featured on the National Geographic's TV show Area 51 Declassified. But, ladies and gentlemen, Area 51 is never going to be declassified, in my opinion. But we are lucky to have brave Americans like Richard Mingus protecting our most closely guarded secrets. Now, whatever happens at Area 51, that's for them to know and for us to find out, right? But it's top secret, and perhaps we shouldn't know what goes on there. Perhaps we should never know what goes on there at Area 51. But thanks for watching the video, and we will see you in the next video on the J-Rod Files. Thanks for watching.